Whoa. All right, what's going on? What's going on, Racing Chef? Thanks for stopping by. Whoa, look at that tie today. I know, this one's intense. Have an intense tie on today. Richard, what's going on? Crystal, OHIO. Dave Johnson, AMG depreciation curve versus regular. Totally depends on the model. Some of them depreciate more, some of them depreciate less. Matches the name tag. Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. This one's got some golf tees on it. Golf tees and golf balls. It's a fun one for sure. What's everybody got going on? Epic. It's an epic tie, says Keith. Thank you, Keith. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everyone stopping by today. All right. If my trade is heavily modified and tuned car, would I have to completely convert it back to stock or no? Johnny, depends on what you did to it and where you're trading it in, right? Some dealerships aren't going to really want a modified car. Some might be okay with it depending on what you did to it. Kim, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you, Kim. Thinking of getting a used G63, 3-4 years old is my daily. What are your thoughts? Reliability once the warranty expires. G-Wagons are pretty reliable, but you know they're expensive. I would just recommend a warranty, right? You're going to be spending a lot of money to get even a couple-year-old G63. Just make sure you get an extended warranty with it. There's really no reason not to. Really no reason not to. I have 23 GLE 350 and leases, 16 payments left. What should I do? Sonny, I'd ride it out a little bit longer, right? No need to get out of it just yet. CL35 AMG versus C-Class maybe. Now I'm guessing you mean CLA35 versus C-Class. So the C-Class is going to be more luxurious. CLA35 going to be probably a little bit better price point. What do you think about his new SQ5? I haven't really seen much of the SQ5 yet. I saw their Q3 the other day, but I haven't seen the new Audi yet, the new SQ5. If a person had to bury $20,000 of negative equity, which vehicle would you point them towards? Daniel, I'd point them towards an EV, and depending on what kind of car you have now and where that negative equity is coming from, that would determine maybe what kind of payment you'd be okay with. So if it's, you know, if you've got a lower end vehicle and you need a lower payment, then EQB, if there's a 2024 EQB 350 or 300 or 350 out there, those are really, really inexpensive right now. But even you could go with an EQS SUV. You could even go with a you still slinging those CLEs? Absolutely. We just sold a spot delivered one today. Took a 2013 Bentley Continental GT on trade. That one's going to be going up on Dealer Club. Have a video coming out on that one soon. Really nice car, just a little bit old for us. But looking for a BMW M340. I feel like they're crazy overpriced right now. Why? Justin, I can't help you there. I'm not an expert on the M340, that's for sure. But thoughts on the new Tiguan SEL R-Line? Generally, I like the R-Lines for VWs. I'm not a huge Volkswagen fan myself. There's nothing wrong with them. I just, you know, I think you spend a little bit more money and you get an Audi if that's the car you want to go with, right? But thanks for everyone for hanging out. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, the thumbs up button. If you're not following already, would love a follow. Appreciate that. And thank you for coming by on a Wednesday afternoon. How reliable are the new EQ models electronics-wise? I mean, I've been driving one for 3.5 years. They've been great. I haven't really heard anybody that has had issue. Why is AccuTrade censored? I don't know. I'll have to ask my editing team about that. Unintentional. They might have misunderstood some notes that I gave them. Do you recommend Acura vehicles? Yeah, Acura makes a good car. You know, they're fancy Hondas, and Hondas are good. What inventory management system do you guys use? We use vAuto right now. You know, vAuto is kind of the standard for that. Not my favorite, you know, piece of software. I mean, it's fine, but it really hasn't changed in years. So, always looking forward to some potential new options down the road if there's some new competitors in that space. What's the best car for the money? Daniel, it really depends on how you define best car for the money. Right? If you're just looking for something inexpensive and reliable, then Toyota, Honda, right? But props to you and your work ethic. Keep going, man. You're killing it. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you so much. Does Mercedes pay flats to their salesmen, or is it commissionable gross? It all varies on the dealership. All varies on the dealership. Daniel says Rolls-Royce. Nothing else. Okay, Rolls-Royce. There you go. Let's see. Our old 2018 C63S is heavily modified, still selling these days. I guess it depends on what you mean by heavily modified. I mean, that vintage of C63 tends to do very well overall. Galves or MMR, neither. Both worthless. We use AccuTrade, by the way, though, so they look at everything. But those are just very misleading averages of cars that are selling at wholesale, but really not a good way to appraise cars. I know someone asked about Acura, but what do you think about Genesis? I'm impressed by the Genesis product. They're very good looking cars. I think they've done a really good job with those. The interiors are nice. I mean, they kind of look like Bentleys on the outside. I think they've done a good job overall. Tips for a salesperson going from a B lot to an A lot dealership. Andrew, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Craven, I miss AMG Jared there. Well, things were certainly very entertaining when he was around, that's for sure. Arthur, how long have you been in the car business? Do you drive a Mercedes-Benz? Yes, Arthur, I've been in the business for 15 years, and I do drive a Mercedes-Benz. I get one as a demo as part of my job. Let's see. Michael, very happy to announce I bought the 2005 SL55 because you approved. Nice, Michael. Congratulations. That's very exciting. Daniel has 2 Range Rovers or Rolls Royces. That could be either. You did say Rolls Royce before. And I have equity now. Thank you for all your support. Congratulations, Daniel. Is there a difference between dealership and manufacturer purchase incentives? No. Not that I am aware of. I mean, maybe with certain brands, but no. Dealership, I mean, a dealership can always create a fake incentive, right? They could say that they want to do a certain incentive for one reason or another, but no. As far as I know, I mean, not with Mercedes-Benz. Other brands, I guess, possibly, right? There could be regional incentives that apply to certain dealerships and not others based on where you live, but not with Mercedes. Scott, is better to trade in a paid-off car or sell it privately and use that money for a down payment? Well, Scott, it all depends on where you live and what you're looking to buy. So if you live in a state that gives you a tax credit on trading in a car, which most states do, some will only do it on new cars and not used, but a lot of them do it on both. But you want to be very careful to do that calculation for a tax credit. So for example, in Ohio, if you are buying a new car and you have a $20,000 trade, for example, let's say we value it at $20,000 and you lived here in Cuyahoga County where there's 8% sales tax, then you would get a $20,000 sales tax credit on the new car you're buying, which would be worth $1,600. Okay, so the reason that's important is that let's say you could sell it privately for $21,000, right, which is $1,000 more than the dealership is offering. You would actually be coming out net $600 behind because you'd now be losing out on that tax credit for not trading in the car. So it really just depends. I mean, if you've got a very inexpensive car and you can sell it for 11 grand versus trading it for 10, then at that point it probably makes sense to sell it privately. But it just depends. Just don't forget about the tax credits. AG is asking what's my favorite MB in history. I would say, you know, the Gullwing, of course, is very iconic, but I'm going to give it up to the CLK GTR is my favorite in history. BRAMG, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. Credit score needed to lease. There's not a credit score requirement necessarily. It definitely is going to be good if you're over a 600, especially over a 650. But really, what Mercedes is looking at, and what I'm sure other banks are looking at as well, is your credit history more than your score. Now, the score does matter, but they're looking at your credit history, which is going to include your payment history on previous auto loans and other installment loans that you have. So what's really, really important is to make sure that you're always on time with your payments, never missing payments, right? If you've got some credit card utilization that gets a little bit high from time to time, that can be overlooked if your payment history is perfect. All right. But what I will tell you is that what we are noticing right now is that banks are really cracking down on missed payments and late payments. That is kind of like an automatic disqualifier. So they are looking at that as a suggestion of pattern of behavior that could mean that if you're missing payments on previous loans, then it makes them worried that you're going to miss payments on a new loan. Okay. Is there a financing option similar to something like a first-time home buyer loan? Yeah, there is. First-time car buyer for certain lenders, certain banks. I know Mercedes-Benz has that first-time buyer program for cars that are if you're financing under $50,000, whether on a finance or a lease, and you're like a recent college grad, first-time job, first-time car buyer. Then yes, a lot of banks do have a program like that. Jimmy, does University Hospital qualify for fleet? Yes, they do, Jimmy. University Hospital, we love our team members. They do qualify for fleet. In fact, we just sold a doctor the Sealy 53 today.
Will this get bought?
Well, let's take a look. So we've got a total financed amount of $102 on a $87,000 car. So yeah, I mean, loan to value, you're right there on the edge. That's about 120% loan to value. So on a lease, yeah, I mean, it's within Mercedes-Benz's parameters, but it's going to require some pretty spectacular credit.
Okay.
Right, because it's definitely doable.
Okay.
Are they okay with those
I'm
terms?
gonna send it to him right now.
All right.
He just doesn't understand why the trade's not worth more. I'm like, please.
There's a lot going on with that trade.
There's a lot going on with that car.
Yeah, a lot going on with it. But yeah.
Cool.
Michael, hey Doug, what's the lead time for ordering a new G550? Lowe mentioned something about an order guide. So Michael, right now we do have one G550 allocation available. It is a car that is going to be built in late August currently, so we would expect to see it here by the end of September if it wasn't delayed unexpectedly. That is the only available allocation that I have right now, and that's probably the last 2025 build that I would expect before they switch over to 2026 builds. And 2026 G-Wagons historically, no matter when they are built, do not get released until no earlier than the very end of November. So if you want to scoop that one up, then we do have it available. And because it's a 2025, you should still be able to build it on mbusa.com. You can build it there and send us the link to your build. The order guide, of course, is just a kind of a PDF version of what you'll find on the website. But yeah, we do have that one build left available if you want to snatch it up. So I would expect end of September, if not delayed in any way. But thank you for everyone who's hitting the like button and the follow button. I really do appreciate that. It helps me a lot, and I appreciate all of your support. The ball who signed it, well, the one right behind me is signed, the brown one is signed by Brian Brennan. He played for the Browns, and then the white ball behind that is Archie Griffin and Jim Tressel of The Ohio State University. If you reestablish credit with credit cards post BK, it will help. Yeah, Keith, that will definitely help, but for auto loans, you're going to need to be several years removed from a bankruptcy before you're going to be able to finance a car again. Now, there are subprime lenders that will finance on a car like that, but the interest rates that you will pay are really outrageous, and I would recommend not doing that if you can avoid it, right? Trent, does Mercedes-Benz have a financial arm like American Honda Financial? Yes, Mercedes-Benz Financial Services is our captive lender. Extended warranty, who underwrites your contracts, Fidelity Warranty. EFG is the third party that we work with, and then Mercedes-Benz, of course. Andrew, is there a software issue with Sirius and E53? I just took delivery last Saturday on a 25 E53 and can't get radio to stay on in Sirius. That's very interesting, Andrew. I have not heard of that, so I can't speak to that being a known issue on E53s, anything like that. I hope that they get that resolved for you. That sounds super annoying, and I do apologize. But I was thinking about buying a Lexus NX 350 or GLC, but I didn't like that they don't all come standard with cooled seats. What do you think of these cars? Yeah, I mean, cooled seats are optional on the Mercedes. I will tell you that they're not cooled seats. They are ventilated seats, and there is a difference. So cooled seats are actually air conditioned. They work a lot more effectively from the perspective of actually blowing cold air. Whereas ventilated seats, which is what Mercedes-Benz has, is really just kind of recirculating air. So they do work. They're not as effective as cooled seats. The reason that Mercedes-Benz does not have cooled seats, and it's, I ask this question because I'm always curious to know these things, and Mercedes-Benz always has a reason for the decisions that they make, is that, as it was explained to me, cooled seats have been shown to cause, I guess, lower back issues, lower back pain when used for an extended period of time. They can cause like some health issues there because of the cold air blowing onto your lower back for an extended period of time versus just the recirculation of air already in the car. So that's the reason that I was told that they have ventilated seats and not cooled seats. So there you go, fun fact. Nice to meet you, Mr. Bowtie. Keith is the GSM at MB of Fresno, California. Nice to meet you as well, Keith. I appreciate you saying hello. If you ever need a dealer trade from us, please feel free to reach out. I know that sometimes it might not make sense to get a car all the way from North Olmsted, but we do love to. We have several friends out in California that we trade with, so I'm happy to help if we ever show up on the locator. Which coupes are over 6,000 pounds? I'm a realtor, so GLE, you want to stay GLE and above. GLE and above, and you will be able to get your Section 179 right off. What else? Will MB lean back into V8s with the likely Fed policy rollbacks? Yes, MB is developing a new V8. That news came out a few months ago, so they are definitely embracing V8s more than they thought they would be. Even just a few years ago. So yeah, good news for V8s everywhere. Mercedes-Benz is definitely committing to the V8 for a long time. So Willy Wonka, hello, over on Twitch. Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate you stopping by. Will the GLE get Hyperscreen? I don't think the GLE will get the Hyperscreen. Most of our cars that are going to start getting redesigned next year, I believe, are going to get the Super Screen. So the Super Screen and the Hyperscreen are not totally dissimilar. It's just that the Hyperscreen is continuous all the way from the driver display across to the passenger display, whereas the Super Screen, which you will find in the new E-Class, so if you're interested what that looks like, just look up the new E-Class, and the Super Screen has a freestanding driver display, which I actually like a little better because it's a little bit more vertical, a little bit more upright as opposed to lean back. And then the center display will carry from the middle to the passenger for the rest of the car. So it's essentially a Hyperscreen, but the digital display, instead of being completely flat, is kind of like this. So I would expect that the GLE, the GLS, probably the S-Class are going to get the Super Screen, not the Hyperscreen. So hopefully that's helpful. Why do I seem so nonchalant? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of a nonchalant kind of guy. Almost grabbed an EQS 580 but decided to hold off. Lawyer, Adam, what made you hold off? EQS 580s are hot and they're rare. They're rare now, right? Mercedes-Benz, that's what I'm driving right now, EQS 580 SUV, big fan. Would a prepaid lease still show on my credit? It will, but it isn't going to give you so Dominic, it's going to show on your credit as an opened and immediately closed account, unless they've changed that, but that's how it used to be. But yeah, it's going to show up on there. Igor, cooled seats over time make the leather of the seats stretched and softer, may even cause them to be wet and rotted from condensation of air conditioning Freon used to cool the AC. There you go, Igor. There's another reason that cooled seats might not be Mercedes-Benz's preference. What Mercedes has the most incentives? The highest incentives are on the EQS sedan. No, why it won't turn on. Let's see what else is going on. Thoughts on the CLA 35? I think the CLA 35 is a fun car. Those are a good time. How do you feel about cars will need buttons, not just touchscreens, to get a... Yeah, so I do think that cars definitely need more buttons again. I think that manufacturers are starting to realize that the touchscreens maybe are a little bit overkill, and that consumers like to have a combination of tactical buttons that that they can actually interact with, and the touchscreens. But I get that. I do believe that there is the element of distraction when you're interacting with only a touchscreen. So I hope that we can see a mix of physical buttons and touchscreens moving forward. Our car prices going up, sir. So Willy Wonka, we still don't have official word on pricing for 2026 models for the U.S. market. It's widely expected that they will go up. I mean, there's always a year-over-year price increase that you'll have for any car, but the question becomes what amount of the tariffs are going to be passed along to consumers. And although the amount is 25%, we don't really know what that 25% is being calculated on, right? It's not the MSRP of the car. It's not even the invoice that the dealer pays. It's a cost of goods that only the manufacturer knows. Tom, hi from Ireland. Thanks for saying hi all the way from Ireland. I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for everyone who's asking questions and liking the stream and hitting the thumbs up and the follow buttons. I really do appreciate you. Janine, much better deals on GLBs than GLCs. GLBs are well incentivized. GLCs are not incentivized at all. I mean, they are incentivized from the perspective of leasing, but GLCs are the most popular car in the States for Mercedes-Benz, and therefore they really don't need incentives. GLBs, a little bit less popular, so they are generally well incentivized. Paul, hi from Canada. Very awesome. You're doing a really good job today. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for answering. I used to work at a dealership 20 years ago. Your content is great to watch. That's awesome. I appreciate you watching. I always love when I have dealer friends. You don't have a forecast? No. So there's really, right now, the manufacturers are just totally in wait and see mode, a little bit of panic mode. They are all convinced to some degree that they're still going to be able to talk the president into some kind of reduction of tariffs. They're all trying to negotiate. So the reality of it is they are just kicking the can down the road as far as they possibly can. So some manufacturers have come out with some initial price increases. Others still have not. Mercedes has still not given us anything. Yeah, is this an AccuTrade colored bow tie? I guess it is. I guess AccuTrade is they've got the green logo. Why do Range Rovers tank in value? Luxury cars in general tend to lose value pretty heavily because luxury car buyers are a little bit more willing to pay up for new, right? They either want brand new or they want a crazy good deal. How on earth do you sell Mercedes in Ohio? Are most of your sales out of state? There's a lot of money in Ohio. There's a lot of money in Ohio, but we do a lot of out-of-state business as well. Are they providing C63 type of help on the EVG wagon? No, they're not. When is the new GLB coming out? Well, the GLB just got refreshed for model year 2024, so no changes for 26, maybe model year 27 potentially, but we don't have official word on that yet. Mark, does Mercedes still build launch editions? We own a 2011 E550 Cabriolet launch edition and love it. Yes, they do, Mark. They still do launch editions. That's awesome. Love E550 cab. What a great car that is. Love the E-Class cabs and the nice V8 engine in that car. That is a really awesome car that you have there. Please, sir, I'm starting as a car salesman. This is my 3rd week and I have 6 cars sold, but, well, that's off to a good start, Edwin. Look, the best advice I can give you, 2 things. 1, talk to as many people as possible. If you don't talk to somebody, you can't possibly sell them a car, right? So that has to be the number 1 thing that you do. right? Say hello to everybody that you see in the dealership, whether they're in service, in sales. Just say hello, ask if they've been helped, just have a friendly conversation with them. You never know where that conversation can go. And especially go talk to people that are in the service department, because there's a better than 50% chance that they did not buy their car from your dealership, okay? That is just the statistics of it. There's a better than 50% chance that they didn't buy the car there, and they are not going to know anybody that works in the dealership in the sales department. So you can be that guy, okay? And again, talk to as many people as you can. Don't try to sell everybody that you're talking to a car, okay? Just be friendly. People like to feel welcome where they go, especially when they're in places where they don't really know anybody, okay? So most people don't love being at the dealership. Just say hi. That's the best thing that you can do. Part 2 of that is figure out who the top salesperson is at your dealership and spend as much time around them as you possibly can, okay? If you spend time around high performers and you listen to the way they handle their phone calls and their prospecting, and you listen to what they say to the clients that they're interacting with, you can pick up on those things, okay? It'll make you better. And the people that complain a lot and don't sell a lot of cars, avoid them like the plague, okay? Yeah, Richard always walk through a service waiting room and say hi to everyone there. Boom, that's the great way to do it. Eric, if you have the opportunity to speak with MB Corporate, tell them don't do away with the physical buttons. I love Audis too, but won't buy any of the new models because I despise only have touchscreen inputs. Thank you. Yes, Eric, I think that Mercedes is definitely picking up on that feedback, and you know I'm always happy to pass that along. James, thank you for the gifts. I really do appreciate that. Very kind of you. Steven, love your stuff. I spin paper out of Idaho. Nice, Steven. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. Tyler is in RV sales, loves watching the content. Thank you for watching, Tyler. Appreciate that very much. Leslie, can you help me with my GLB 250? I have a current loan on it, but looking to get into a different Benz. Yes, Leslie, absolutely we can. We'd love to work with you. We'll work with people all over the country. Happy to help. Easiest way to get that process started is just go to the link in my bio and click on the work with the team, work with Doug Horner and the team. We're happy to work with you. Can I get out of my C300 and lease it into a GLE 53 coupe after 13 months? You could. I wouldn't recommend it. It's going to be expensive to do that. So I would definitely get a lot further into your lease to really minimize the penalty of getting out that early. Miguel needs help. Okay, Miguel, what do you need help with? Julie says a 24 Golf R. Don't agree with your Audi comment. Well, the Golf R is cool. Okay, so that is a car that doesn't really have an Audi that sits above it. So there are some cool Volkswagens. I would say the Golf is probably one of the coolest. That's an enthusiast car. I'm a fan. And nothing against Volkswagen. I just think overall a lot of their models are pricey enough that you can justify spending up just a little bit to go to Audi. So, the Crystal Club been in the back end side of the business, now diving into Highline exotics. What's the best way to get fluent fast? Any must-know specs or patterns you'd focus on? District manager with Republic Auto Group. So the Highline and exotic business is definitely a complicated one. Those cars they're very, very spec dependent. So people are very sensitive to the specs on those cars. And you need to really learn what colors, what interiors, what options are popular and not popular on those vehicles, because on a Highline car, when you're talking about people that are spending that amount of money, the littlest things can undo a deal, okay? Because you're at price points and you're dealing with somebody that just has an expectation level that's much, much higher than the average car buyer, okay? So you really want to dive into all the ins and outs of exotic cars. You know, what are the colors, what are the trims, what are the right wheels, what are the right options. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. So Terry, Doug, thank you for bringing the high integrity to this dealership. Terry, thank you for saying that. I do appreciate it. It is so much info. It's a lot. There's really no easy way to do it other than just to really immerse yourself in it. Nick, what are the current best leasing deals right now? By far, EQB. 2024 EQBs, there's only a few of them left out there, but they are crazy good deals. And then beyond that, GLA, GLB, very well incentivized. C-Class, very well incentivized. And CLAs as well, right? CLAs, C-Classes, GLAs, GLBs, very well incentivized. EQBs. Have you run a lease on a 24 EQB lately, Colin?
Yeah, it was like $350 a month.
Yeah, it's staggering. It's like old school Honda Civic payments on EQBs. Okay, so say what you want about EVs, say what you want about EQBs. The payments are almost insulting. I'm insulted by the payments because I do think that they are not representative of the brand. But hey, if that's what they're leasing for, then great, right? Take advantage. What?
Can you pull the phone call?
Why?
I just want to see.
You want to see how many phone calls you made today? All right.
Actually, for the month.
Colin needs a little back padding, so let's see how many phone calls he made today. Let's pull a report.
Actually, for the month, I would like to see.
Igor, Doug, you're spot on with exotic and supercars and hypercars. Color and option spec can make a deal or break a deal on supercars. Yes. Yeah, the specs, Igor, I agree with you entirely. The specs on supercars are absolute make or break. Absolute make or break. Is the RV sales guy still here? Well, he's over on Instagram and you're in TikTok, but I don't know if he's still here or not. He might be. Thank you everyone for hanging out today. Okay, Colin. How many phone calls has Colin made? You've made 377 so far this month. And today you've made 18. You made 25 yesterday and 38 on Monday. So comparatively a little disappointing,
All right.
but that's okay. You did sell a car today.
Mm-hmm. And he's thrilled, and they got a
Two would
really
be
nice
better.
message. Mm-hmm.
I
So
know.
it could be better.
He's happy?
Over the moon.
Good.
So
From Bentley Continental to CLE
CLE
53. CLE 53s are the hottest car on the planet right now. They are out of control. They're so awesome. They're so awesome. Why can't I get a 15K EV rebate on a Hummer but not a G580? That is a rebate from GMC. That's not a real thing, right? The only rebate that you can get that is government related is the $7,500 lease, and it's only for leasing. But anything above and beyond that is specific to the car and the brand, right? So that's from them, not from the government. All right, it's about closing time, so I do need to hop off and get home to help with bedtimes and dinner time and all that fun stuff. So I do appreciate everyone stopping by today. Thank you for everyone who hit the like button. Thank you to everybody who is a new follower today. If you're not following already, I always will humbly ask for a follow. And please make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well, because the longer versions of videos go out there. I know a lot of you are always wanting more information about what happened in a deal, and oftentimes you can find it over on YouTube. So thank you to everyone for hanging out.